Hello, World Wide Web. Welcome back to the Hangin With Web Show. I'm GW Pomichter. Thank you so much for logging on and tuning in. Hit subscribe right now. Do it right now. Don't wait. Do it now. Come back over and over again. We are here on World Famous International Drive in Orlando, Florida for the International Christian Film and Music Festival. That's a lot of initials.
A whole bunch of initials.
A whole bunch of initials. They just piled all the initials on the same place and reordered them until we could use them. So we're here and we're hanging out right now with filmmakers Wes and Donna Bristol, who are the filmmakers who brought us Chloe's Mountain, which is the first film that we saw at the festival, by the way. So this is kind of cool. Because I saw the film yesterday and I didn't know these guys. Now I do.
Yay.
Now you do. So, all right. Let's talk about Chloe's Mountain.
Let's do that.
Okay. So you're sitting around the house one day and you're like, let's make a movie.
Not quite.
Not quite, huh?
Not quite.
No? Okay. So where is this story born?
This story was born by a woman named Marla Antonero.
Okay.
She's from Southern California. And she birthed it from a dream, really.
All my writers always say that. Came to me in a dream. I don't know what's going on. My hands are always up to a higher power. But why
Definitely.
the dream? Okay, can't we ever get these things when we're awake?
No, our brains don't
get in the way, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this came to her in a dream, and so how did you find this story?
I actually auditioned for the film way back when it was a different name.
Okay.
And because a lot of the people that were involved in it couldn't work together, it kind of collapsed.
Wow.
And so she set it aside and wanted to just totally forget about it. And she put in her head that if somebody comes to her and says, when you're done with thinking about it, let me do this. Well, along comes my husband, who was a senior pastor.
Okay.
And the Lord told him, let's just kind of take a break. I need you to do something else. He didn't reveal what. And I'm thinking, he comes to me and tells me, oh, I'm going to retire from the senior pulpit. I go, really? Why? What? What are we doing? And then because I developed a friendship with Marla, and we inherited sort of a production truck and nothing to do with it. So we said, got the truck.
And the pieces are falling into place.
Boom, boom, boom,
Everything
boom,
is
boom.
coming together, right?
Yes.
The dominoes fell into place, and I called her up and said the words that she had prayed to God about. You know, she said, if somebody calls me up and says these words, he's your person. And I said, I'm not even knowing. And she got off the phone and couldn't believe it. And a few days later called me back up and said, if you want to film this film, you can.
That's fantastic. You know, I was watching your eyes as you were telling the story. I was, because similarly, now you said he should retire from the senior pulpit, and I saw her eyebrow and it went up like this, and she said, and she was like, "You're gonna what? Who? What?" Because I remember, as an artist, I remember going home as having been a journalist and saying, "I think I'm gonna do my own thing. I think I'm gonna write books, and I'm gonna do interviews." And I remember my family going, because
Exactly.
you're going to do what? And he says, we're going to make films. We're going to make inspirational films.
Exactly.
And this is the first one.
This is our very first
This
one,
is the very
yes.
first one. And so from that moment, calling up and saying those words, and saying, here it is. When you're done thinking, I'm ready to do this. And seeing it on the screen. That's a wonderful, arduous,
Yes.
creative journey. Every creator out there that watches the show knows having it here and seeing it there.
Two different
There's
things.
a lot of miles. There's a lot of miles in between those things, right?
Yes.
So what was the moment? And Pastor, I know you know about this. There's always a moment on every road when you're halfway up the road and you're thinking to yourself, do I take another step? What was that moment for you guys? What was that challenge
I
for
think
you?
it was out of pure ignorance, maybe, and just desire and zeal to serve the Lord that I ended up stumbling through this. And I remember we were looking for locations, and we needed this college location. Well, shooting at a college is very difficult, especially a state college or whatever. So we found a YWAM college, Youth for a Mission, up in Chico, and we went in there and we were looking at the script, and it says, we need this bookstore. I've got a lot of scenes in the bookstore. So we go, and, do you have a bookstore? Yeah, it's right here. So they show us the bookstore. We're looking around. I said, well, other than all the windows that we got to deal with, it's a pretty good place. We'll stack books, whatever. And so we're looking at it, and all of a sudden we say, okay, across the street from the bookstore is the lady that runs the bookstore. She's got a house over there, and her name is Mrs. Cooper. So we said, well, there's a house across the street. Let's walk over there, and see if it kind of matches, see if we can film there. So we walked across the street, and we walked up I'd say a dozen steps to get up on the front porch. And on the door, it said the Cooper House.
Well, that'd do it.
That's what did it for me. I said, okay, God, you've given me the sign. I'm
literally.
Literally.
Thus, as signs go, a sign. That's a pretty good one. All right, so he says, I'm stepping down from the pulpit. We're gonna make an inspirational film.
Yes.
And naturally, being the supportive, loving wife that you are,
of course,
you after you're done beating him with the towel, we move into film production. Was there a moment that inspired you that said, "Man, you know what? You're not as dumb as I thought you were that day. This is actually a pretty good day." What moment was that for you on making the film?
When he cast me in a part. He won points.
That's how I made my family happy with this. I gave them jobs.
Yeah.
Hire them. They like that.
Even my granddaughter or my daughter-in-law, we cast her for a part in the film, and they were from Texas, so we flew her out for her part, and she brought her daughter, which is my granddaughter, and she's hanging around the college and all this other stuff, and I thought, I got to put my granddaughter in this film, right? Give her a little line or something. So we didn't have anything, so I invented one, because Chloe comes to college the first day with all this weird spider webs on her eyes and, this makeup thing, and she's being real rebellious. And so we had her standing next to this lady who was supposed to be her mother, and she looks up and she goes, "Is that a zombie?" So we put a zombie line into Chloe. Well, it's like way popular right now.
It is incredibly so. All right, guys. So we caught a great part of the dialogue. When we got there yesterday, the girls were laying on the floor, and they were in, it was a great sharing moment.
Yes.
Great. One of the things that I was caught by immediately was that these were two young people having a very important, a life-altering conversation.
Yes.
And they were doing it in a very honest way. And that is something that it's rare enough to see in mainstream films. It's rare to see in faith-based films. It's rare to see that, because sometimes, we were just talking with another filmmaker, we're talking about the difference between story and message. And what you guys seem to have done was found a blend. You were able to bring message and story, and when you get that blend together, you've got art. And when you get it wrong, you've got a great message or a great story.
Yeah.
True.
But you've got real art when you get it in the middle. What was the challenge for you guys, especially as first-time filmmakers, in trying to find the balance? Pastor, you come from the pulpit. Message is very important to you. How do you do?
The writer wrote that in well, and as a director, it was my job to make sure that stayed real. And not preachy, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to just be the life.
We were lucky with our cast.
Basically the life of Chloe.
Seriously lucky with our cast.
That's
they
fantastic.
worked well together.
The
all of
on-screen
us.
chemistry was really wonderful to see, and they played well off of each other,
Yes.
which was really, really nice to see. And again, When you have powerful message
Yeah.
often resonates. When you have a great story, that often resonates. When you're able to get the two together and deliver that well, and then well done.
Thank you.
First of all, very well
Thank
done.
you.
So let's talk about your cast a little bit, and when as first-time filmmakers, right? So what was that process like? Trying to get the right actors, trying to get everything. It's like herding wet cats.
Yeah.
So
Producing it was hard.
producing it was hard, yeah.
You know, I'm a microwave kind of guy. I want everything to happen in, one day, or I'm out of there. And I said, God, if you give this to me, I will finish it, no matter how long it takes. So it's kind of a discipline for me too.
How long was the production?
We've been working on it 6 years almost.
6 years. Wow.
And we had, well, actually 5, but because we had our cinematographer died at 51 years old of a brain tumor right after we filmed it,
Wow.
and it set us back a year. I mean, he had all the hard drives. He was, and it was very sensitive because of his age and everything, and his family. So it's okay. I said, we said when we started out with this film we weren't going to be in a hurry, and we were going to do it as quality of Hollywood as we could. And we don't have a $2.5 million budget. So I think we accomplished that. Did you see it?
I did. I very much enjoyed it.
I mean, there's a little bit of color correction we got to do and some sound work, but what'd you think?
I have been to independent film festivals now on to 3 years, and interviewing the filmmakers. Mm-hmm. And I will say, and our YouTube family knows this, I love the independent creators community. I really, truly do. I think there's not enough guys like me out there promoting independent creators. Mm-hmm. But saying that doesn't take away the movie fan in me, the movie buff. I grew up as a 70s kid. I came up when they were changing the way movies were made. I got to see Star Wars when it was in theaters, and I got to see them change the dynamic and the way movies are made. And as such, going to independent film festivals, sometimes I find it, as much as I support the creators, I find it painful. Yeah. Because I'm a movie fan. I love video, I love movies, I love film. So, but I can honestly tell you, we came in yesterday and we got credentialed and we got ready to do the show. And our friend David, who's David Vincent Bob, who did Right Before Your Eyes, brought us in and to see your film. And we were there for, I think we ended up probably about 10 or 12 minutes toward the latter part of the film. And I was watching and I said, and I told this to David when he first started coming down. He was talking about coming down from Pennsylvania. And I said, now it's an independent film festival, so you're going to see some amazing storytelling. But it's what we talked about earlier. They're amazing stories, they're going to be amazing messages.
Yes.
Yeah.
And being the kind of film festival we're at, you're going to see a lot of amazing messages. You're going to see 5 movies. What you would go into a theater and pay your 2 bits and see a movie. You're going to see 5 of those. It's not that the messages aren't great or the stories aren't great, it's you're going to see 5 that were able to do this. And right off the bat, the first one I walked into was yours. And I saw it done. And I was very impressed. And I thought, yes, it's an independent film. Like you said, there's some color things that you see here and there as angles shift and things like that. I still do that. I only have 2 cameras. When I switch back and forth, my colors change because I'm still developing my eye as a filmmaker. But you guys really pulled it off. I was really impressed with the story that you told. I was impressed with the way that you told it. And I was impressed that your cast and your direction kept it, in your words, kept it real. Because conversations, kids, when they talk about their spirituality in particular, they have a particular way of talking.
Yeah, they do.
You have to let them talk that way. And it's our nature, as older people, it's our nature to say, let's get serious, let's get it a little bit different. But they have a natural flow.
Right.
And when other kids watch that, they will feel it.
Exactly.
And that's what I felt, and I really enjoyed it. That card means I have to shut up.
I know.
She does it to me all the time. As we do that, though, we want to say thank you. We really do want to thank all of our partners and friends. Author Yvonne Mason at Off the Chain Radio, the Foxwood Wine Company, Krypton Radio, Celestial Healings, our great friend Josh Bauer over at J. Bauer Art. Normally, I have my whole set set up with me that travels with us, and the art that adorns my set was from Josh Bauer at J. Bauer Art. He's wonderful. Space Coast Comics and Indie Originals. We have Indie Fest 2019 coming up in June. We're looking forward to that. And our great friend Rick Shea and the great team over at Famous Faces and Funnies. Those are the people who share our videos all over the World Wide Web. We hope you will be one of them. We've been hanging out here with filmmakers Wes and Donna Bristol, the Filmmakers. Their first film, guys, their first film is out, Chloe's Mountain. We're going to put links down below so you can follow their journey. And as soon as we know where this is going to be, we'll make sure we tell people.
Thank you.
We want them to see your film too. Guys, if you're a storyteller and you're out there on the World Wide Web, tell your story. Share your faith, share your passion, share your dreams. Share those stories. We've been telling stories since we could sit around a campfire and dream about what was beyond the firelight.
Right.
Let's keep telling great stories. And these guys are a great example of what you never, look, I started the show, I was almost 50. You guys have started filmmaking. Keep creating, create, aspire, and inspire others. Log on, tune in, and see who we're hanging with.